Google just dropped Gemini 3, and for the first time in months, Sam Altman and Elon Musk are both publicly congratulating their biggest competitor. So let's break down Google Gemini's 3 launch. And look, I've been at the tiptoe of AI since its launch 2+ years ago, and honestly, most of these launches can be incremental BS. For example, GPT 5.1. But this one is different because Google didn't just iterate, but they basically said, F it, let's ship everything at once. And the numbers are pretty insane. And talking about benchmarks, I know, I know. It's another week, another best model ever, right? Like I can already see folks in the comment section placing bets on how many days until GPT 6 drops. Like I get it. Here's why this one actually matters for your actual work. Because Google isn't just winning on paper, but they're literally shipping features that can change how we build. And let me show you how. So let's now talk about the numbers. With a score of 37.4, the model marked the highest score on record on the humanities last exam benchmark. And by the way, this is literally the hardest benchmark to pass in the world. The previous high score, though, was actually held by GPT-5 Pro, which had a score of 31.64. But wait, before y'all come at me in the comments, models are one thing, but deployment is everything. And when we talk about like the math benchmark now, Gemini 3 scored a 23.4% on Math Arena Apex. Now, why is this huge? Because for context, okay, GPT 5.1 scored 1%. That's literally a 23 times improvement. But okay, enough about the praises. Let's actually have a reality check on the performance. Because like, look, benchmarks are BS if the model doesn't work in production. And based on my early testing, Gemini 3 still has the usual Google AI problems, like hallucinations, or especially the one thing I hate the most is that it does not follow instructions well. Like I asked it to not make changes to my code, but instead to make a plan that I can later execute. Well, guess what? Gemini made changes to my code anyway, which is really annoying. Now, there is something a little unique though about Gemini 3, which is its generative UI capabilities that actually work. And I think that really changes everything. I asked it to build an interactive loan calculator because like I personally, I just closed in the house and I wanted to see what would happen if I made earlier payments on my home and etc. And it did everything. It included sliders, visualization, the works, everything. So Gemini 3 isn't just like another question and answer tool, but it's actually building apps in real time for you and me. So Gemini 3 so far is great and there are some problems, but I want to talk about what's missing, at least for me. There is still no persistent memory like ChatGPT. That sucks because memory is huge. It just helps when you type in future prompts or if you have your personal LLM that you want to work with, you want it to remember your previous conversations. Secondly, it's still stuck at a 1 million context window. Now, if you're a developer, they also released something that actually has me pretty excited, which is Google Anti-Gravity. This is a new agent platform which lets developers code at a higher task-oriented level. Basically, you describe what you want to build instead of writing every line of code yourself. But the thing is, you're giving goals now, not instructions. Well, I think Google is playing a totally different game than OpenAI. AI now has like 2 billion users every month worldwide. And the Gemini app alone surpasses 650 million users per month by itself. Google is not winning on hype, they're winning on deployment. And while OpenAI is trying to build market share, Google literally just flipped the switch and gave 2 billion people access to Gemini 3. That's the power of owning the infrastructure of the tools that everyone uses, like Google Chrome and Gmail. I guess that may also be why OpenAI just launched ChatGPT Atlas, which I personally like a lot. But look, by the time you watch this, there's probably already going to be GPT 5.2 or Grok 4.20 or whatever comes out. The model wars are honestly exhausting, but here's what actually matters, okay? Google just proved that they can ship and that they can compete and that they have distribution no one else can match. Like I remember that less than a year ago, Everyone was talking about how ChatGPT would be the end for Google. Everyone was assuming their stock would crash. Maybe they were wrong. So whether Gemini 3 is the best for 2 weeks or a month, I don't think that really matters. I think what matters is Google is finally taking this seriously. Like, this was a quiet launch, y'all. There was no huge press release. There was no keynote. There was no hype. There was no promises. Just, here's the model. It's better. Deal with it.